different sounding, or it means a lot different than what it sounds like. Contrary to the natural law. What is the natural law? In your own words. What does it mean to say something is the natural law? It's something that you already know. It's something that you already know. The natural law is that there is something in me that I already know. I already know. Okay? It is something to be followed. If I want things to work as they are supposed to. So we said last semester that it is the natural law to not kill someone. Okay? That wasn't to murder someone. I'm born knowing that that is wrong. I don't have to be told by reading the Ten Commandments that it's wrong to kill someone. It wasn't like they came down, Moses came down, hey, here's the Ten Commandments, don't murder. Oh, that's a really good idea. I never thought of that. No, they already knew that. Because it's already, the idea of natural law is that there's things that are in us that we know already, even before we encounter God or Bible or church or whatever else. Okay? Natural law. When I look at things, I just know that there are certain things that need to happen in a certain way. And so the church says that it is violating natural law. When we look then in relation to the second thing too, affective and sexual complementarity, when we look at a man's body and a woman's body, we just know that those two fit together. Okay? It is the natural law. When they come together, there is a child that is produced in that act, sometimes. Okay, but it is always an act which has the potential to produce a child which continues the species moving forward. So the church says that is a natural process. We recognize that when we look at it. When you were in third grade and they were showing you the film strip of sex class, sex ed class, or whatever grade you did it, you had it in? You never had it? You never had sex ed? Was my homily on sex the...
Family life, which was like good relationships between people, not like this is what happened with you.
They didn't have like the awkward sex talk where you like saw the pictures?
And then afterwards, the day after that, they had a deodorant and hygiene talk.
Pictures? They drew pictures? I don't want to see somebody drawing the pictures. Like, have pictures already ready to go if you want. Tyler, you with us? Kayla, you good? All right. So yes, when you looked at we had film strips. That's how old I am.
No, it was like a Simpsons cartoon of a penis and a vagina and everything and all that.
A Simpsons cartoon?
It looked like it wasn't.
Oh, I was going to say, that's awkward. So contrary to the natural law, affective and sexual complementarity. What do those mean? Affective and sexual what does it mean to complement the other? To go together. Affective. Okay, sexual complementarity means that things fit together. Not hand motions. No, I'm not doing hand motions. Woman and man fit together. That is sexual complementarity. Affective complementarity means that it's not just a sexual thing, not just a physical thing, but that it's also an emotional complementing of one another. So make sure you get that down there. Affective complementarity means that emotionally we complement each other. Men and women complement each other as well. Sexual complementarity means that physically, having sex, the man and the woman complement one another.
So emotionally fit together and then...
Emotional is what kind of complementarity?
Okay.
And then sexual complementarity is what? The puzzle piece. Puzzle pieces. Very good. They fit together. Okay? So the church says, look, that homosexuality, first of all, violates that. It violates the complementarity that we see naturally in nature. God has made things to work a certain way, and it violates that. Okay, let's turn the page. Now, the myth. This is important. Here are the two myths, or the two alternatives that we are told are possible for us to believe in with regards to homosexuality. And this is what we were just talking about. One, yes. We're now on the back. You can get the front page sometime. Step one, or alternative number one, is that homosexuality is a genetic issue and therefore it is a right that people have. That, again, is the view that is presented to us by our society. So there's really not a whole... You read that. Every time you read the newspaper, every time you turn on most of the news stations, every time you get on the internet, most of the movies that you see, this is that. This is that mindset. So if you're asking me, why don't you present both sides? There's side one. It's genetic. It's something that people are born with. Okay, God wouldn't make me this way if He didn't want me to be this way. So on and so forth. The battle is, yes. I mean, the battle right now is where do we define, what is homosexuality? When can we start teaching this? It is being taught earlier and earlier, okay, especially in public schools. So, yeah. You shouldn't be.
What about, it's just going to be a long answer. What about, I was watching Our America with Lisa Ling.
Uh-huh.
On the Oprah thing. And,
Oprah.
there's this little 7-year-old who's a transgender. Her parents didn't teach her to be that way. It was just she started drawing herself as a girl, and then she started wanting to grow her hair out and only wearing pink and doing girl things. It's a guy. But it's a little boy. Her name's Harry, but... Harry is...
Yeah.
So the parents don't want that, but...
Okay.
They can't, they don't know what to do.
Yeah. Let's save that discussion for after we get some of these other things kind of laid out. No, that's fine. That's fine. We definitely need to get there, and we need to answer that. That's a good question. Okay? What's that? Nope. We're going to get there. We're going to answer that. Question? Kari? I thought you had your hand up. Okay. The other perspective that is out there, the other alternative is supposedly this. Okay, so make sure you write this down in some way. I went to try and rent V for Vendetta this morning, actually, but it wasn't open yet. We're going to bring it in. We'll watch it.
Number one was just homosexuality is a genetic issue that people have a right to have.
This is number 2, right here, at the bottom. All homosexual persons are evil and must be cured forcibly if necessary. That's the mindset that's portrayed in V for Vendetta. Okay? If we have a chance to, we will look at that clip. They're the ones that protest the soldiers, right? Yeah. That's who we were talking about earlier. Was it? They're protesting at soldiers' death because they say that the death was deserved because we allow homosexuality in our country. Right. Right.
inside
At the
they were
at the funeral.
outside.
Right. Right.
That's wrong.
So, because the church says that homosexuality is wrong, it is often portrayed as being in that second camp. Okay? It is often portrayed as being in that second camp. Now, my own experience of friends who have struggled with this. The church does not hate homosexuals. I had a very fiery class last year, so I had to say this. Okay? But I don't think you guys are that way. But anyway, I don't really want to hear that the church hates homosexuals. I don't think any of you would say that. Okay? But I do believe that this is going to be an issue that's going to define our generation, especially in the church. That it is a potential source, I think, one day of potential persecution even. The church's stance is basically vilified and is mocked, and it's I don't know. I have this belief that one day I may be punished for the church's stance on homosexuality. So anyway, I don't really want you saying that. I have a good friend who struggles with homosexuality, and so it's not like I'm not taking this from like this arrogant.
Gay, but they don't want to be gay.
I don't know exactly where. I wouldn't say that he doesn't want to be gay.
Or he's gay, but he thinks that society would judge him different.
He's gay and he's pretty okay with it. Yeah.
I think he was asking because you said he struggles.
Yeah, you said he struggled.
Well, I think he's not totally okay. I mean, I think that he is.
I know a dude, like we real cool, but I wouldn't I don't know. He's gay, but he doesn't tell people that he's gay. Like, closet gay.
Okay. Yeah. So the other thing is the interesting thing is I do some work in prisons just every now and then. And last year I was at a prison and visiting with this one woman who is entering the church, actually the Easter Vigil this year, who struggles with homosexuality. And she was saying that she went to a lot of other church services that they had in the prison and throughout her life, and she'd never heard anything positive about her condition or what her lived experience. And then she said one day she went to Mass and she started looking into what the Catholic Church had to say about it. And she said for the first time she felt accepted. She felt like there was a message there that described her situation for the first time. And so she joined the church. She joined, as a homosexual person, she is joining the church because of what the church says about it. Okay? So I think I just want to say that, all of this up front, to say that maybe the way that we're portrayed in society about our teaching on homosexuality isn't quite exactly what it is. Okay? This is from Pastoral Care for Homosexual Persons, a church document. Okay? The characteristic concern and goodwill exhibited by many clergy and religious in their pastoral care for homosexual persons is admirable, and we hope.
Look at things like drug use and other things that are glorified in the media, and it's widely accepted, even though we know it's fundamentally morally wrong. So, sorry, Father.
No, thank you. We got it fixed. Recording to the memory card now.
I feel like you can't really compare abortion and homosexuality in terms of being integrated in society because...
Well, I mean, in that both are assumed to be a basic fundamental right now in our society. One has a basic fundamental right to have an abortion, it's said. One has a basic fundamental right to act on one's homosexuality. Those two things are both considered by our current administration to be things that they are fighting for as basic human rights.
Yeah, but I mean...
So I guess that was kind of why I was saying that.
I mean, in terms of... I guess, natural law.
Yeah.
I think homosexuality, that basis of it is more... it's simpler.
It's...
I mean, that's, like Mr. Bosso said, that's like the first thing
Mm-hmm.
that, kind of naturally gets into his daughter's mind, is that it's not between two female Barbies.
Yeah.
She's not thinking about a pregnant Barbie or something.
But you also know, like,
They consider
natural law, you also know that it's
Okay.
illegal, though.
Okay.
So,
Justine?
Well, I know we don't know like the acceptance of it, like if it is accepted or not. But what if a couple who is homosexual
Mhm.
has a child? Then do you think that they are raised with the idea that it should be man and man or woman and woman, or is it just because we're raised with two parents, a man and a woman, that we think it should just be a man and a woman?
Are you saying like if the child was adopted by a homosexual couple? We're going to get into that's a different class actually, because there's so much stuff here. We're going to get there's a whole class that we'll have on homosexual couples and the adoption and that whole linkage.
I was just saying because
But you're
it was,
yes, I get what you're saying. You're saying that it could be something that is brought up in our mentality based on where we are educated, which is why people are fighting over what's taught in our schools. There is definitely the idea that it's easier if you're teaching it at a very early age, that it's going to become more easily ingrained into society, which is why you hear people waging multi-million-dollar campaigns just in the state of Indiana over what's going to be taught to second graders. Yeah.
can we also talk about like the polygamous, like, because have you ever seen Sister Wives?
No.
It's like the polygamy show or
Uh-huh.
whatever on TLC, like not
Polygamy is there's always a TV show about polygamy, it seems like.
and their kid, like one of their kids thinks it's wrong and like is
Okay.
against them, but like still supports them. I don't know. It's just like
We can get into polygamy someday. Not actually practicing it, but yes.
yeah. And I mean, obviously a lot of our questions can't be really answered, but just because they're so like it's so much deeper than what's on the surface of what anyone is able to know.
Right.
So like I know of a family where the mother and father were married.
Okay.
They had 4 children.
Yeah.
They got divorced, and now the father is a homosexual and has a partner.
Mhm.
Like I don't understand how you can go through life
And that's why the church, I think, says,
and then just change your mind.
right. And I think that's why the church would say, it's psychological, this is from 2357 right here. Its psychological genesis remains largely unexplained. The church is acknowledging that where this comes from psychologically remains largely unexplained. Okay, let's get to that. Before we do more questions, let's get to something else here. Let's keep talking. The church it's important here to first of all distinguish between two different things. The church distinguishes between homosexual attractions and homosexual actions. So make sure you write that down. That's a very important distinction that the church makes that not many other people are willing to make in this discussion.
What is it?
What should be...
Any member of the church response to a person.
We already did that.
right under that.
An important distinction made by the church on the issue of homosexuality. Right there.
We write that.
Yes. That there is a difference between attraction and action. That there's a difference between attraction and action. Difference between attraction and action.
What's the first one?
What's the church's response? That's what we talked about. What should be the church's response? What should be a member of the church's response to someone who has a homosexual attraction? Compassion, acceptance, respect, sensitivity, affirming their dignity as a human person. Okay? The church, though, it's important here to remember also that the church distinguishes between heterosexual attraction and heterosexual action. It is much different to go and have sex with someone than it is to think about it or to even be attracted to the other person. On a heterosexual level, let me just say for a minute, this is an amazing teaching, really, when you think about it. That John Paul II really helped me, because when I was in high school, and a younger guy, and you're, trying to figure it all out, and you're battling lust and so on and so forth. I remember when I used to think in my mind, I can't have those thoughts. And then as soon as I did, oh my gosh, I'm attracted to that woman. Oh, I've already sinned. So I might as well think about it even more. But the church says, attraction, not sinful. And when I heard that for the first time, that really helped me out a lot. Because when you realize that attraction is not sinful, to be attracted to a woman or to be attracted to a man, the church does not consider that in and of itself to be sinful. Does that make sense? Okay, so if it's a heterosexual person that you're attracted to, by being attracted to them, you have not sinned. It's still possible to live a life free of sin, to live a life of virtue, even though you're experiencing attraction. And in fact, problems arise when we try and tell ourselves, I can't even be attracted to someone. I can't be attracted to anyone. If I was, as a priest, walked around and said, I can't be attracted to any woman, then I would, John Paul II says, you would cause all kinds of problems in your life. And we know that to be true. Psychologically, we know that's true. Right? If I walk around trying to repress even attraction, then I get into a lot of trouble with myself, and it will come out in lots of, he says, basically weird ways. And we know that to be true psychologically as well, right? We try and repress that. It's the action part of it. When I experience an attraction, I then have to, if I switch into action or I start to think about it on my own and allow thoughts to run in my mind, or I actually act on that attraction, that's the problem. Okay? Now, let's look at this point here, though. There is one distinction about heterosexual attraction and homosexual attraction that we need to make sure we understand. And this is what the church gets a lot of heat for. Because the church says that homosexual attraction is what? What did we say earlier? It's disordered. Okay? Disordered. Now, if I could change one word in the catechism, the way it was translated, I would change the word disordered. What is the one language that the catechism is written in? Anybody know? Or initially written in? It's in Latin. And it's translated to all these other languages, right? Okay? So our English one, in the Latin, or let's first of all, when you hear disordered, what does that mean to you? Disorder typically means, when we say somebody has a disorder, it means they have a disease or some other kind of disordered. In our mind equals disease a lot of times. In the church's mind, it has nothing to do with that. Disordered, okay? Ordered to be ordered.